What do you remember? You may not remember all that, but what happened to you at that moment?
Man, I remember being in a place of the torment he's talking about, but I don't remember the physical state.
Yeah.
Like, I don't remember anything as far as what was going on in the truck. I just knew what was going on in my mind. So one of the last things I remember was I was talking to her, boom, all of a sudden I went into like a tormented state, and that's one of the last things I remember clearly. I don't remember him, I couldn't see him praying, or I couldn't remember anything like that. I just know what I was going through internally.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so did you at some point leave your body, or tell me what happened? Take us to what we couldn't see, what Dad couldn't see.
Okay, so going from his point, when I started going through torment and he started praying and things like that, I felt myself falling.
So the first thing you felt was yourself falling.
Yes, like a.
But you're in a car. What do you mean?
In my mind, I went into a place of like I can see my body falling from my eyes.
Wow.
Yeah, like I can see what I'm seeing, but I can't react. It's like a sunken place. That's real. I know it's just movie and things like that, but that is real. That's something because it's a point to where like you can hear and you can see, but everything's so distant. There's nothing you can do about it. And I felt myself falling away from my eyes, and then all of a sudden, I let myself go straight to hell.
Straight where?
Hell.
Straight to hell.
Mm-hmm.
How do you know?
Before that point happened, my soul left my body. So.
No, you say your soul left your body.
Yes.
What was that like? I mean, how do you know your soul left your body?
Because it was an aerial view. I was passed out or going what I was going through first and then passed out, but I can see where my dad was going. I told him the lanes he was changing. I told him the cars he was going behind, everything. My dad was.
So after you came back, you told your dad everything that happened while you were passed out.
While I was passed out.
And you were like in the air looking at it?
It was like an area. I felt like an eagle. That's exactly what I felt like.
Looking down at yourself.
Looking down. I can see almost the whole city, but I can also see my dad at the same time.
Wow.
It was something unbelievable. And then when it got to that point, I went straight to hell.
You went straight to hell. How do you know it was hell? What did you?
It was number one, it was a very short fall. You go from an area view and then boom, I could feel myself get pulled down immediately. I went straight to hell. And when I get there, it is not like a lot of the movies and some books and stuff. It's nothing like that. It's hot, but there's no fire. But it's very hot.
Just say that again. That's an important point. You said it's hot, but there's no fire.
It's hot, but there's no fire.
Okay.
It's like molten rocks. It's like molten rocks. It's really hot. It's really orange. It's glowing. I'm talking thousands of degrees glowing. Like, it's not supernatural in the way of heavenly, but this is still a supernatural thing. Because the ground is thousands of degrees, but your feet aren't burnt. You're very hot, but you're not passed out.
Wow.
Right?
And see, a lot of people don't realize that the Bible actually says that hell will one day be cast into the lake of fire.
Yes.
So hell right now is not necessarily
not
the fire, but the Revelation says it will one day be cast into the lake of fire.
Yes.
So you saw that place right now. Then where do you think it was? Because you say you went down. Where, you have any sense as to where you were?
If I had to take an educated guess, I would say more like the center of the earth is what it felt like. I feel like the center because it's glowing molten rocks all around you. It's like people are standing on shells of rock. It's very hot, it's glowing. You're very thirsty. You can't breathe. You're extremely hungry. There's extreme torment. I mean, the odor is terrible. I mean, everything about hell you can imagine is everything bad you can imagine in life is what hell is. You can't breathe, you can't talk, you're in torment, you're screaming. It's very hot. It's not fire, but it's very hot. You can't seem to grasp the concept of real life because it's all of your worst. Just for a second, take your worst thoughts and your worst experiences and stretch that for eternity. I mean, take the deepest hurts and the deepest things, the worst mistakes, all those things, and the devil puts it to where like you are thinking about that stuff so much, you are losing your mind for the rest of your life, for eternity, forever. We're not talking about 10 minutes. We're not talking about having a bad day or a bad week or a bad shift at work. We're talking about forever. as long as time could ever last, eternity, you're going through torment, losing your mind.
Now, the Bible says that in that place, the worm dies not. When you look at that word worm, it actually means your conscience. So what you're saying is the torment is oftentimes thoughts.
It is your life. You're thinking of your mistakes. You're thinking of things you've done wrong, people you've hurt, things that have hurt you, people that have died. You remember your life. Hell isn't a made up, he's just making you feel crazy. Everything you ever went through, even things that you didn't go through that you could have went through, he shows you. So in hell, not only are you hurt from the things you went through, but you're hurt because now you realize how good God really was to you.
Were other people there?
Yes.
What, like a lot? Or
It's a lot.
all around.
It's
So
all-
do you hear sounds from other people?
You hear a lot of screaming, a lot of crying, a lot of torment. And the thing is, you can see everybody. Everybody can see each other, but you can't talk because you are losing your mind so much you can't even grasp the concept of communication. It's not like you're blinded or, I mean, that's what adds to the worst part of it. Is you can see everybody else's hurt along with yours. And then you still have that in your heart. You still hurt in your heart while you're in heaven. So you're seeing people go through what they're going through and it hurts you even more.
So were you trying to get out of there? Were you trying to scream out to God? What do you remember about?
You are in a place to where the hurt is so bad because you realize how good God was. Part of the torment is you are begging God to save you. You are begging God to come get me out of this place, and it's too late. You know what you want, but you realize it's too late at the same time.
Now in Luke chapter 16, we have that passage where the guy from hell begins to cry out to Abraham in the bosom and say, would you dip your finger in some water and bring it down here because I'm tormented in this flame, I'm thirsty. So is that what you?
Yeah, you're extremely thirsty. It's just two things that make it hard. You're extremely thirsty and you can barely breathe.
Now some people have the question because you're not in your body. So how do you remember? How do you talk? How do you feel? How do you encounter thirst?
You know, it's actually not a physical, like you don't feel it here, you feel it like here. Like you feel like you're thirsty, but I don't think it's just a thirst for liquid. I think you have a thirst for God that's unbelievable. Now you're at a place that is way too late. I don't think it's just about I need water. It's that too, but it's really, I have a thirst for God now because the devil, literally, you are seeing everything that God kept you out of, what you could have went through, places you could have went and died.
Now, Dad, you're still looking at him and he's still not there or in a coma or whatever. You're still driving him to the emergency room. You have no idea he's going through all of this. When you heard this part of it, I know there's more to it. When you heard this part of it later on, what did you think?
It's amazing how prayer, things shift with how you shift in prayer. So as I was rebuking Satan, I was crying out to the Lord. I felt a power go through my body and through my hand. And the Lord said, don't take your hands off him. So as I was prophesying to him, I was speaking about his purpose. I was speaking about what God created him for. I was saying, you shall live and not die. And I said, thank you that your purpose shall be fulfilled. So I was speaking as the Father would speak to his son before the throne. And we was driving about 100 miles an hour the whole time. I'm praying one hand on him, and I'm telling you, God is with us because I'm one-handed going through traffic about 100 miles an hour in the Escalade and just. So by the time we get to the hospital, he hadn't moved. So the Lord put in my spirit Lazarus experience. And I said, what do you mean, Lord? He said, call his name. So he was sitting there. He hadn't moved for the last 10 minutes. And when I called his name, he didn't move. And that scared me. So I screamed his name the way Jesus must have screamed Lazarus. And I said, Joshua. And when I said it, he came to himself. And it was like it was a quickening spirit because he really looked around like he didn't know where he was or where he had been.
Okay.
And he was so weak that I had to go around and actually pick this big boy up and put him in a wheelchair because he didn't have no strength.
Wow. So now before that happened, how long, if you can even quantify time, did you stay in hell?
About 15 minutes.
Okay. What makes you feel like it was about 15 minutes?
Just putting together as far as what I went through, and my dad explained how how.
So you're just calculating.
Yeah, just calculating as far as everything.
So after, how'd you get out of hell, man? I just want to know, you know.
Good question, sir. I was going through that, and it was a very, now mind you, when I was in that area view of my soul came out of my body, it was a very short fall. You felt down, and all of a sudden, I believe it was when my dad started really crying out and really putting the power of God on serious. Is when I transitioned to heaven, just like that.
So just like that, you're in heaven. No.
Just like that. But I will explain this. It was a blink of an eye, but at the same time, the journey to heaven is way longer than hell. That fall to hell was short. You know, you're there, right? And the journey to heaven is the same way, but you can feel it is a lot longer. I mean, it's far. Which goes to the point of like, it doesn't take much, you fall straight to hell. You really got to walk this thing out and take this serious to get to heaven, because it's a long, skinny road.
Wow, man. So you're in heaven now. Are you outside of some gates? Are you in a place? Tell us the first thing you remember about being in heaven.
You know, the first thing I remember is amazement, from the simple fact that when you're in that much torment, being in hell like that, because it's more torment than I could really honestly put in words. As soon as I get to heaven, I have the most comfortable feeling you can ever imagine. Just that quick. And when I first get there, I can't explain to you how satisfying that is. When you're standing in the presence of God, think of the best thing you can do. The best thing you can accomplish right now in your life. Your biggest dreams, your biggest goals, means nothing compared to just standing in the presence of God. Just standing there.
So when you say, we're going to clap, go ahead and do it well. I don't want to interrupt that. So when you say standing in the presence of God, do you mean just being in the place of heaven where he is, or did you actually find yourself by his throne?
I found myself standing right in front of his throne.
At first, that was your first entrance to heaven.
First sight, yeah.
In front of his throne. Mm-hmm. Tell me about the throne.
It is, once again, nothing like movies and books portray it to be. The only true book about it is the Bible. Because all the movies, they have clouds, and it's nothing like that. Number one, it's the purest light you ever want to see.
The purest what?
The purest light.
Purest light. Mm-hmm. You know, the Bible said God is light. Mm-hmm. So, tell me more.
Okay. So, like, when you look at the sun and you look at any light bulb, you look at anything like that, you see beams, you see rays coming off of things like that. This is nothing like that. This is the purest, most natural light you ever want to see, and it's bright. There's not a grain in sight. And what's so supernatural about it is that there is not one shadow. I mean, you look at what we're sitting on, it has corners, it has shadows. You can see his throne, but it's crystal clear, but yet you can see it with not a shadow. How do you explain that?
So do you see only light, or do you see a being? Do you see a chair?
You see him sitting on a throne. You see him himself, which is fairly big, to be honest with you. And he's completely a clear entity, but yet you can see him. And there is such a presence there that his presence is so strong, it's like a soft thunder.
Like a what?
Like a soft thunder.
Soft thunder.
Mm-hmm. You don't hear it, but you feel it because his presence is so strong. I mean, I'm telling that it's a place of reverence. I mean, you literally just want to serve him. That's all you want to do. You are waiting for his every command. What can I do for you? That's all your life is about at that point.
So there, it's not even about what he did for you. It's not like I'm going to praise him because he gave me a blessing. I'm going to praise him because he did it. It's just who he is.
It's who he is because you can't remember anything here. You don't remember family. You don't remember girlfriends. You don't remember friends. You know, I mean, I know it sounds depressing right now, but I promise you it's not. You don't remember anything. All thing you know is you are in heaven, you are here, and you want to serve him. That is it. You don't remember anything about anybody here.
What sights did you see around?
You can see him, the throne, which are both clear.
Did you were able to look at him? You just looked at him?
You can look at him, but you don't even want to. He is so powerful and so sovereign that you don't even want to look in his face. You are that humble. You can see him, but it's not just about his light being so bright. It's about you respect and honor him so much. I don't even want to look at your face. I just want to look at here and listen for what you want me to do. What is your instructions? And you can see him, you can see his throne, it's clear, and you see animals around him.
You see what? Animals?
Animals, yep.
Describe the animals.
Okay, you have like, which is crazy because it's not what I thought it would be when I got there, but you have like a lion right here. And it is all white. Now granted, a lot of animals have white eyes that aren't around a lot of sun. White, the white around the people actually reflects light. It makes them see better at night. So if you have that much light in a place of being, why are their eyes white? Makes no sense. Everything about heaven is supernatural. And it has multiple sets of eyes all around it. This isn't just two sets of eyes.
The animals have eyes all around.
They have eyes all around.
Hold on 1 second. Have y'all ever read that in the Bible? About around the throne, there are these 4 living creatures, full of eyes in front and behind. One of the things that gave me such confidence about Josh and what he went through is that he didn't really know that. When he came to speak, he said, Bishop, he said, please, I don't know if I'm losing my mind because I ain't never seen this in the movies. He said, around the throne, there were animals that had eyes everywhere. I said, Josh, that's in the Bible, man. That's what the Bible says. This man saw the throne of God. And these animals, what were they doing?
Okay, so you had, it's like a lion type of animal here with a lot of eyes. You had more animals. You had another animal that had like wings. But it wasn't like normal wings. It was 2 wings, but they were separated in like 3 different sections. And they were standing, like it wasn't standing. All these animals were staying confident, but yet all of the eyes were on him.
All of their eyes.
All of the eyes. Even me standing there, they weren't even looking at me. They were constantly looking at him. They weren't even paying me no mind. They're just like, hey, what's up, man? I'm looking at God. I ain't worried about you. Like that's how it was. You see all these animals, or 4, and they're all looking at him. It's like they're waiting, but yet they're confident. I mean, the lion is standing like, yeah, I'm in heaven, But he's looking at God like, what do you want me to do? The other animals the same way. His wings aren't just down by his side. He stands with confidence. But yet all of them have multiple sets of eyes, and they're looking at him.
Did you see other people?
No.
You didn't see people?
I didn't see other people. I saw another being that was almost like a man. It was almost like a man. It was standing along with the animals. It was almost like a man, but I can't quite describe what it really looked like.
So the main thing that happened to you was the feeling.
Okay, so the feeling of being there is beyond satisfying. I mean, you are standing there doing. I was standing there doing nothing whatsoever, and I had the most complete feeling of accomplishment and satisfaction in anything I can imagine to do here. I mean, everybody, we all have dreams. We all have goals. We all have financial things we want to meet. I mean, you take hitting the lottery or whatever you want to, whatever it comes to your mind, the best thing you could think of is nothing compared to just standing there. I mean, you just standing there looking at God, waiting to hear what he has to say. And it sounds funny, but like, it's rather comfortable. I mean, it's not hot, it's not cold. I mean, there's nothing, it is a body though. People think you're just this ghost floating around.
You had a body.
You have a body. It's
spiritual
like,
body.
Yeah, it's a spiritual body, but it's perfect.
You saw definition.
Yeah.
Were you buff?
Yeah, I was, you know what I'm saying? 350, something like. No, it's a mature body. If I had to take an educated guess, I would say he probably puts you with like a 25 to 30-year-old body, something that's mature, everything's fully developed. But it's a real body.
So you have feet, you can walk, you have substance.
Mm-hmm. There's no hair.
So you can feel, you don't do this and your hand goes through, you feel.
No, yeah, this isn't like, Casper, we're floating around. No, it's not like that. You have a real body. It's hairless. You don't feel hungry. You don't feel thirsty. You don't feel the urge to use the bathroom. It's nothing like that. You're empty almost inside. It's like you're filled with nothing but the presence of God. There's nothing inside of you. Yeah.
Wow.
There's no satisfaction you can get from using the bathroom or eating food or drinking water. There's nothing.
So you have no need.
No, there's no need except for him. There is nothing else you need, period. You don't remember anything on earth. You don't remember who you loved, who you didn't love. There's nothing you remember. All you remember is God. I'm here to serve God. That's it. There's nothing else you're worried about.
Did he speak to you?
No.
Didn't say anything? Did he look at you?
No.
Okay, you were just there?
I was just there. I was standing in front of him. I don't have this big, he came down and I am God. No. It's none of that. I was standing there. He was sitting on his throne. It's like he paid me attention, but he was so God that I was just there in his presence. It's like he knew it was just an honor for me to be there. There was no instruction. There were no words. I have no big dramatic plot twist. I was just standing there, and next thing you know, boom, I'm back.
So how'd you get out of heaven, man?
This guy comes in at.
Did you feel yourself falling back?
I did.
You did?
I did.
You felt a sensation of falling?
Yeah.
Did it last a long time, or?
No.
Okay, so you're falling back. Did you have regrets? Did you feel like, I don't want to leave here? What's happening? What were your feelings?
You know, me being young, this is gonna sound messed up. I'm just an honest dude. Me being young, it's like you're almost scared to leave here. People get so wrapped up in who we love and our friendships and our loyalty to people and what makes us feel good that some of us are scared to die. But I'm telling you that death is not the worst thing. Where you going can be the worst thing.
That's
Just like sleep, we love sleep. Sleep is the closest thing to death. So we love sleep. But the reason why we love sleep is because we know we're coming back. We're scared to leave here. This is nothing. I'm telling you, I didn't even realize this until this happened. Being here in the best moments is nothing compared to being up there with God. I'm telling you, there is nothing better you can ever think of. When I came back here, I was mad. I'm for real. I was mad. I was like, come on, bro. Like, I'm for real. I was mad because I was like, when I came back here, this place smells worse than you think it does. The air is thicker than you think it is. The lights are more dim than you can imagine they are. I mean, this light is bright, but it's nothing. You know, I mean, this place is a lot more run down than you may think. Because coming back from heaven, man, I was hot. I was tired. I couldn't breathe well. I was weak because it felt like my body it was a spiritual experience, but it felt like my body was having to reacclimate to earth. And I've been here my whole life.
How has that experience changed your life?
It's made me take everything a lot more serious. I had a walk with God. My dad raised me well. I talk to people all the time about God and really try to change people's lives. That's all cool. Understand that you can go to church every single day and bust hell wide open.
That's the sad truth.
Yeah, I mean, there's people that, you know, they go to Monday choir practice, they go to Wednesday Bible study, we go Saturday to feed the poor people, we go Sunday, go to church, and then I go to the night service, and I wake up Monday and pray for 7 hours. That's all cool. You can bust hell wide open. This is a true way of life. This ain't a religion. You're religious. I'm not religious, man. I'm a child of God, period. This is not an act.
It's not a ritual.
So coming back from that, I mean, from my personal experience, this is a miracle. I mean, doctor-wise, I had a stroke, a heart attack, and a seizure.
So the doc said you had a stroke, heart attack, and seizure at 25 years old.
Yes. So for me, if you ask me what it did for my life, I'm here talking to you right now. I mean, you guys see, everybody in the church used to see me being this happy-go-lucky guy, but for a few weeks, I couldn't walk, I couldn't talk, I didn't want to eat, nothing. I mean, walking, I had to literally count my steps, left, right, left, right. It was rough. And I really had to depend on my dad and my fiance for what I can see at first. Because this was a big shift in my life. You're not walking and talking. But after a while, my dad always told me, man, God's going to be your recovery. I got scared because I've been, blessed enough to, according to people, to be intelligent. But when you get to a point to where you can't even think fast enough to get a full sentence out, and you can't walk, everything that God gave you as a gift, you realize what you really had.
Yeah. So you're more grateful. Wow.
More grateful. I mean, going through that experience makes me take it more serious, not only from a heaven and hell point, realizing how real this really is, but it makes me understand that we take a lot of stuff for granted.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people at 60 seconds mess up their entire week. I mean, we don't realize how good we have it. We go to Walmart, we stand in line too long, and the world's about to fall down. I want my honey baked ham now. No, that's not. We take so many things for granted. The fact that you woke up, you walked here, If you're on streaming, you got a computer, you can even watch streaming on. You got internet right now. I mean, we take a lot of this stuff for granted and don't realize how real eternal life is afterwards. I mean, this is real. This is not a game. Even I was shook. Like, because you see something like that, and when you come back here, you realize, like, I really got to get this together, man. I mean, tithe and offering, things like that, obedience. When you're up there, that's one thing that I'm learning right now after this experience. If I had to take one thing away, it's obedience. Because when you're up there, all you are is obedient. You're obedient without being obedient. You just, what can I do? If I'm not doing anything, I'm going to stand here and not move a muscle until you tell me to. But here we take our own liberties. We have a sense of entitlement. We feel like we're owed something. We ain't owed nothing. God don't owe us anything. We owe him everything.
Come on, sir. Say that. It's all about him, isn't it? Yeah. It's all about him. Said it's all about him.
Yeah.
Why do you think this happened to you? You ever thought about that?
I did think about it. And God is very strategic. I think we forget that sometimes. I'm going to get to that. But it's like we forget that he knows the beginning and the end. See, we hear all these things, even me. We hear all these things and they're so cliche and we're used to hearing them that we put them to the side and don't like think about this. We don't know if we're going to breathe the next second. And he knows what already happened and what's going to happen forever. Right? And so I want you to think about this. Everybody's sitting down right now in their chair, right? Do you have more faith in that chair than you do God? Because when you sat down, did you think twice it will fold? Did you think twice that it was going to fall through the ground? You didn't think about that, right? But when God says something, tells us to do something, you're like, I don't know. Or God's like, wait on this. I need it now. So do you have more faith in some wood and metal than you do God? So the reason why I think this happening is because God is strategic. I have a high sense of popularity around a lot of places, and I think that God wants to take somebody normal. I'm 25. I'm not up here in a Steve Harvey three-piece. I'm a normal guy that just believes in God and walks this thing for real at this point. And I think he wants to take somebody normal. It was somebody young. He's strategic. I didn't read everything you were talking about, so I can't just go and rehearse that and be like, yeah, I saw this. Everything he did was strategic. It was the fact of like, my generation needs a lot of help. Yeah. So he can take somebody older or somebody with wisdom, but when he takes somebody younger, and I'm on y'all's level, right? We all whoop-de-whoop. I mean, we all normal, right? He takes somebody and switches their life like that. You can't help but to know it's real.